we're looking at American history. We're looking at specifically our educational system and how we can support our students. To begin, we are looking at 2001, when the No Child Left Behind Act was brought into act and signed into law by George W. Bush on January 8, 2002. We saw that our students were falling behind in math, science, and reading, and we wanted to hold our teachers accountable through mandated testing and yearly goals. We stepped forward in the world when our technology became more advanced. In 2003, our schools officially received the internet. Through this addition of the internet, we also had the iNicole added on to our ideas of launching and dedicating to enhance our K-12 online education. Later, in 2004, the IDEA was modified to increase our alignment with the No Child Left Behind Act. This was a requirement to place the RTI model, or response to intervention, to reduce the need for special education services. Later in 2009, we saw that our schools were falling behind and that we needed some modernization. This led to the American Reinvestment and Recovery Act of 2009. This provided more than $90 billion for education to prevent layoffs and school modernization and repair. Continuing in 2009, we had the Common Core State Standards adopted as our nation's new standards, and states were encouraged to adopt them as well. This was to create uniformity across our nation. 2009 also continued our game-based learning. Quest to Learn was enacted in our first game-based learning in New York City. Moving forward to 2010, after our game-based learning was enacted, Obama enacted what he called a race to the top. He wanted a program to reform our education for federal grants, which encouraged states to apply for more money. However, we didn't have enough money, so our teachers began becoming laid off, which was what we called the Great Recession, which was a massive budget deficit. In 2010, we also led forward with our Common Core State Standards in mathematics. These were the addition of framework for K-12 math learning and teaching. We moved forward in 2011 when our globe was looking and checking for immigration status. Alabama was the first state to require public schools to check student immigration status, which was then revoked and denied by the Plyer v. Doe ruling, as it was ruled unconstitutional. Later in 2012, we found that we needed a little extra flexibility with our No Child Left Behind Act. So waivers were requested as Obama initiated a request for flexibility, since the 100% proficient by 2014 was unrealistic. So in 2012, waivers for the No Child Left Behind Act were open for application for states to waive some of those requirements of the No Child Left Behind Act, which would pertain to that 100% proficient. Moving forward to 2013, we found that Chicago had actually closed 50 of their schools. This was the largest mass school closing in U.S. history, which they claimed was to reduce the cost and improve educational quality. However, this was not the case. This just encouraged us to continue to make sure that our students were prepared globally and internationally. So in 2013, we also created a program for international student assessment, which demonstrated that our U.S. students were behind in its achievement of its counterparts, specifically in Asia. So we needed to develop something new. Therefore, we came up with our new generation science standards. This was a K-12 science standard movement that attempted to include cross-curricular modalities, such as including engineering, mathematics, literature, and writing. In 2014, we needed a $1.1 trillion bipartisan budget bill. This bipartisan budget bill would help us restore almost all cuts of federal education programs. Moving forward, in our graduate programs across the nation, curriculum guidelines for undergraduate programs in statistical science were outlined coursework and contents of courses in statistical sciences, allowing our colleges to catch up and keep up with our pace. Moving forward to 2015, Obama decided that our students were being tested far too much, so he limited our testing to 2% of our time of classroom. So even though these testing scores may be holding our teachers accountable, we still are unable to find that our students are still behind internationally and globally. So continuing in 2015, Obama signed a replacement act called the Every Student Succeeds Act, which was to replace the No Child Left Behind Act to allow more state control in judging school quality. This Every Student Succeeds Act is hoping to make sure that all students have the possibility of a bright future in America. In summary, we're able to see that our education makes a huge difference. We need to make sure our students know that the addition of knowledge, big or small, is always worth the effort. We're able to find that we can gain sufficient knowledge as we gain understanding through our history.